Hi, I'm Ted Sawyer, and I'm here with two very special Porsches and their owners. And this is Andrew Finney, who owns a Porsche 928, in fact, the very first one ever built. And this is Alex VanDamme, who owns the last Porsche 928 ever built right here. So we'll come back to you last because you have the last car, and we'll talk to Andrew, who has the first car. And I understand this is one of a set of about a dozen that Porsche built pre-production, and they were going off to an auto show in France, I think.
Yeah, that's correct. They were actually going to the press launch, where in that era all the automotive magazine press would gather to check out the new models of cars. So these were press launch cars. They were built in a rush. It's which you find out when you're looking through the car and how they're built. And then the the magazine editors and the writers, they drove the cars, they beat the hell out of them, and then the photos ended up in Car and Driver and Road and Track and magazines from all over the world.
Now, when you compared this to a production model, what stands out?
Oh, it's the biggest difference I would have to say is the interior construction. It was the last thing that they had developed was the interior. Yeah. So the interiors in these first 12 cars are all made out of very heavy, handmade fiberglass materials and unusual stitching, and everything's shaped a little different. I happen to have a very early production car, the 24th car. It's all different. It's more like a production car.
So again, there were those 12 cars that were built for this car show, but of those 12, this is actually number one.
This is one. This is the first one. They numbered them, and they started the VIN numbers with 00011, which is a common Porsche thing that they were doing back then. So they had the 12 cars. They were built all at the same time in the same room, no production line. And they had a few different colors, some whites, some reds, some blues, some silvers. And I'm happy to report that we're aware that at least 7 out of the 12 are still around.
Wow. And
accounted for.
Now, what about this color? And I saw the photographs of it. I assumed it was just a white paint, but it's not quite.
Yes. So this car was originally Grand Prix white, the common Porsche white. When we got the car in 2017, it had been repainted a few times. It had some minor accident damage, some rust. The car had a very hard life. It was parked for many years in a garage, then some time outside. And then my good friend Ed Rice wanted me to bring this car to this event in 2017 with about a month's notice. So I kind of threw the car together in my yard and in my garage, and I painted it in my yard with primer that's white at least. And that's how the car's been since. So, it really should get a full and proper restoration, and it will, but that's that's kind of a significant undertaking.
It's number one. I mean, how can you improve on the very first 928 ever built?
You could get the last one, which has many, many improvements. That's how you can improve on it.
That's Andrew Finney, and that's the very first Porsche 928. Thanks for bringing it to Pittsburgh this year. And speaking of the last car, this is the last car, and this just has an amazing paint job that's almost this color. And this is Alex VanDamme, and this is obviously a distinctive-looking car. But this was actually the last Porsche 928 to leave the factory.
That's the fact. We looked at Porsche documents, and the CEO's car and this car were built significantly after regular production had stopped. Regular production stopped in May of '95. 2 cars were built after that. Both were built on September 8th. This one and the one for the CEO. The CEO car got invoiced out on November 2nd. This got invoiced out on November 20th, and probably took longer because of the all the special features from a Porsche exclusive.
So I read a bit about the history that you provided about the car, and you were talking about the lengths that you went to determine that this actually was the last one. And the fascinating thing to me is that he can honestly say this is the last one that left the last one that left the Porsche factory.
Yes. Yes.
And the other one, the CEO's car, is in the Porsche Museum. Is that right?
At this point, yep. It's midnight blue. It's been in the ad recently for Porsche. They were all in the States at one point. I would have loved to have gotten the two together, but.
Now, tell me about this color.
Okay, this color is called Pearl Glanz Grün. That's German for pearl gloss green. It's a one-of-one color. We're not quite sure who chose it. I've spoken with the person who ordered the car originally, and he insists that he did not order it in this color. Oh. So it may have been changed after he canceled his order by the head of Porsche Exclusive, who, you know, had a flair for very exotic colors. So we're not quite sure who ordered it at this point.
But this is the only car that was painted in this color?
Absolutely, yes. The only car that's Pearl Glanz green. So.
Now, is this original paint that we're looking at here?
Mostly original paint. It's been touched up a few little places, but overall, this is the original color interior. We have all the documentation on that, so it's a very special car.
I hope you get a chance to look at the interior, because the interior is as spectacularly colored as the exterior. And you were talking about the fact that this particular 928, the last one, is fully optioned.
Yes, it's the highest optioned Porsche 928 ever built. It's the highest MSRP ever built.
Were you saying something about the seat belts?
Oh, the seat belts were $8,000, and that's because Porsche had to dye the entire lot. Pay for the company to do that. And apparently even the seat belts were in the car when it was delivered, like the extra seat belt roll, because the owner had paid for that. So
it's a fabulous car. It is obviously a distinctive car. You can't hide in this car, so you can't like rob a bank and be driving in this car. Alex VanDamme has the last Porsche 928 to leave the factory. Alex, thanks for bringing it.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
It's Porsche year at the Pittsburgh Vintage Grand Prix 2022.